Earlham football team is back out on the road again this coming week. They'll travel to Mount St. Joe after losing this past week to a very good Franklin football team. And the Quakers, after the loss, will regroup and head on the road again. Now 5 of 6, is that what it is?
Yeah, this
5
is
of 6 at the
fifth
beginning of the year.
Yep. So we're on the road a lot.
You're on the road a lot. But next year, the good news is you'll be back home for quite a few. That'll be interesting. That'll even out eventually sometime, I would imagine, when the schedule works itself out.
Yeah, hopefully
right?
by 2019, 2020, we'll be back to balance 5-5. That's what we're working toward as we schedule out the next 2 and 4 years, getting in a situation where we have 5 home, 5 away, just for a nominal routine. But it'll be exciting to have the 6 home games next year. So.
Yeah, no kidding. Coach, you look back at the Franklin game, and I tell you what, their offense is phenomenal. They've got tons of weapons. They score quickly, and they can score often. That is just a team that's hard to slow them down.
They're very hard to slow down. In the same token, I don't think we did everything that we could from a playing standpoint to slow them down any further. We didn't help ourselves, and they weren't going to help us either. And so we've got some areas where we definitely need to improve in terms of offense, defense, and special teams. And I challenged our guys this week to take a long, hard look at that film and see what it's like to face a great opponent, to see the areas where you did play up and areas where you didn't, and how that can really affect the game when you're facing somebody like that. And we've got to find a way as a football program to not just be in a game and not just say, we're going to look for the silver linings in this aspect. Okay, we faced a really good team, perennial conference champs, are going to vie for it again this year, and we played okay with them. We can't be satisfied with that.
Yeah.
Good enough is never going to be good enough. And challenged our program, challenged our guys to dig deep and find newer ways to pull this thing out. Yeah. Because we're going to run out of opportunities, and we've got to take each one of them as we can get them. And last weekend was an opportunity, and we didn't succeed. And so we've got to find a way to get that success, to dig deep, to keep working toward the eventual wins that we want to accomplish here. And it's going to take more than showing up. It's going to take a certain desire, dedication, and attitude, and I think expectation. I told our guys all week, it's only an upset if you expect to lose. So for us to upset Franklin, for us to upset Defiance, Anderson, Hiram, Wilmington, everybody's calling those an upset when Earlham wins. That's everybody expecting us to lose. Yeah. I don't expect us to lose. I don't show up to lose. I don't practice to lose. I don't coach to lose. I don't work to lose. Yet here we are losing. And some of that is going to be implicit with our mentality. Are we looking for the good in every bad all the time? Or are we just going to say to ourselves, that was bad, we've got to do better. And we need to work harder to do better. And we need to improve in multiple areas. And that's not just players, that's us as coaches. That's me as a head football coach. We've got to improve in multiple areas in order to succeed.
You're down to 1 point, 21-0 in that game, and then you score, and all of a sudden you can kind of feel the momentum going back your way, and then they come back down and score real quick. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's one of the things right there. If you're going to take advantage, you really got to keep that momentum in your side.
You got to keep it going. I think in terms of offense for us, we do have the ability to score quick. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we as a team realize it yet. We've done it in some games, and a light bulb goes off for a little bit, and then something rocks the house, and that unscrews that light bulb and starts flickering, and then it's off, and then we got to screw it back in, and it's on. And so I think for me, whether this sounds braggadocious or not, I think offensively we can put more points up. We can do a lot more. I think we can score more often. We've got some of the best weapons in the league, and we've got to find a way to get them the ball or get them down the field in a better fashion. Defensively, we have to respond better. I don't think we responded very well to adversity in that game. I think we fell into some bad habits because we let our mind believe that we had a much, much better opponent than we faced, and all credit to those guys. They're great. But if you want to beat great teams, you've got to play great. Yeah. If you want to out-coach well-coached teams, you have to coach well. You've got to do all the things that are requisite with success, and unfortunately we did not accomplish that. And, again, I've challenged our team to find ways to accomplish that. We're going to switch a lot of things up, not necessarily just personnel and scheme, but maybe how we approach this thing in general to ensure success.
All right. Then that brings up a very interesting question. What do you change? You're halfway through the season right now, and sometimes that can be a good thing. Change can be something positive. But is it a gamble? I guess you really have nothing to lose at this stage if you do make a couple of changes, right?
All we have to lose is another football game, But all we have to win is another football game. That's what we're focusing on. I don't think about losing. I only think about winning. and not only think about what puts us in the best position to win. I think changing how we approach certain aspects of practice, changing certain areas of practice. For instance, some of the things we're doing with special teams, I think have become a little too routine in terms of practice, and guys are kind of getting lackadaisical in those assignments. Perhaps we're doing the same thing with offense and defense. We've gone back and watched practice film. We met yesterday for a long time as a staff, talked about what are some of the things that we need to improve and switch around a little bit. Even something as simple as when we do something like field goal in practice, at what time we do it in practice. Little things like that. Because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing that you've been doing and getting the same result. Yeah. Well, we've been doing the same thing for 7 weeks and getting the same results, so something's got to change.
You know, that's I'm going to go back to their team a little bit, and it was a senior-oriented football team, and you can tell when they've been together for a long time. Those guys up front, I mean, they were not going to let your defensive line get to their quarterback very often. That just shows you how good they are. And sometimes he just stood in the pocket so calm and quiet, just like he'd been there before. That's what you're trying to get to. You want those seniors to really understand that that's what winning is all about right there.
Absolutely. You know, it's about that longevity. It's about retention. It's about, proper recruitment. It's about a lot of things amalgamated together. But, when we look at it from a standpoint of this is the game. You're in the game. You're playing to win the game. We've got to go. It doesn't matter how old their guys are, how young their guys are, how experienced their guys are, how inexperienced our guys are. Something's got to give.
Yeah.
We've got to make plays. And when your back's against the wall and you're fighting for survival and you're fighting for every down, you're fighting for every play, you can't be focused on whether or not this guy has more experience or this guy has less experience. You just got to go.
Yeah.
And you've got to find some way to get back there. We've given you the proper tools. I think sometimes, especially with having our young guys, they get confused a little bit, and they say to themselves, it's okay for me just to play hard. I'm going to go 1,000,000 miles an hour. If I mess up, I mess up at 100%, and coach is going to see that on film. Well, we won't be watching a lot of film if we keep losing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so the preferential thing is to not mess up and to do your job 100 miles per hour and to get the job done.
Yeah.
And we've got to find a way to do that, Coach. We really do. And so I know our guys work hard, but maybe our definition of hard may not be good enough.
Yeah.
I know our guys put a lot of time in, but maybe our definition of what time is it may not be good enough. And we've got to figure that out. And we have 5 games left to do it. And the only one I'm focused on is the one with Mount St. Joe. Another good football program, another strong team, fast, physical, athletic guys. I know they're well coached. They play hard. We're going to be up against another tall task. And I think it's important for us to rise to that occasion and overcome that task.
All right, when we come back, we'll talk about Mount St. Joe next in more in depth when we return right here on Radio Troy Digital Sports.
For the past 35 years, Van Vliet Insurance has built a reputation of bringing a personal touch. That's because at Van Vliet, it's all about you, your needs, your life, and our town. Along with providing quality coverage to individuals, families, and local businesses, we're proud of our community and the opportunity we have to protect your future within it. Van Vliet Insurance, an Erie Insurance representative. Hometown professionals at work for you.
As mentioned previously, the Quakers back out on the road again. This will be 5 out of 6 that they'll play on the road, and then they'll finish out with their final 4 games. I think you have 1 road game left after that.
1 after this, yep.
And then 3 at home, which will be nice to see for the Quakers to be home. You know, I look back, before we talk about Mount St. Joe, I don't know, and I've seen a lot of football players in 35 years that have been doing sports broadcasting, anybody tougher than Wes Hundley. For a guy his size and a guy that just sometimes he takes a beating when he's running the football, gets back up, does it again, rarely comes out. Even if he gets hurt a little bit, he's back out there again. Yeah. The guy's character and the way that he carries himself is just amazing to me.
Wes is a very tough man. He's endured a lot inside of football, particularly in his time here, and a lot outside of football in his whole life. And that's really hardened him and made him strong and given him a certain resiliency that shows, I think, when he plays. I'm very proud of Wes. But Wes will be the first to tell you that he can do better. Mm-hmm. Wes will be the first to tell you that he knows he can do more. Wes will be the first to tell you that he knows that we can be victorious if he does better and he does more. It's just the kind of kid he is. He'll be very difficult to replace. Not that I ever try to replace kids, but all the things he does for us really gets us going and keeps us going. And so very proud of him and blessed to keep working with him. We do want to keep him healthy. He does fight through some things. He is playing banged up. I don't think that's any secret to our opponents or anyone now, but he does a great job with that, and he is tough. And very proud of him and glad that he's here.
All right, let's this Mount St. Joe team. You look, they're 3-3. They lose to Rose 35-10 their last time out. The numbers that they put up offensively are very impressive, but on defense they give up a lot as well. Kind of reminds me a little bit of this Franklin team, just from the standpoint, it looks like a team that you can put some points on the board. Question is, back on the defensive side, can you slow them down a little bit?
Yeah, I think we can slow them down if we play our game and we play to the best of our ability. And I don't know if we've quite given that yet. We've had a couple of good defensive series put together. We've had some good games where I felt like our defense has helped to keep us in it. But we've got to continue to go forward in the process, that now that we're putting together some stops, we're putting together some good drives, let's put together great quarters and a great game. And that comes with taking it one play at a time, I think. And I completely believe in our scheme. And I hope that our players will continue to play in a facet that shows they believe in it. I think sometimes when I go back to that, I'm just going to go hard and make a mistake 100 miles an hour, that I think sometimes that shows itself, particularly on our defense. And they got to be a little more disciplined. Sometimes it's more important to play smart. Coach Lee was on here last week, and he has a lot of those adages and added in a lot of knowledge this week for our guys to really be more cerebral with their effort as well, about what they're doing and the intentionality behind the assignment. If you do your job, and we do that 11 guys each, we'll build a wall, we'll get stops, we'll break up passes, we'll be in position, and you can't ask for anything better. Then you got to play football.
Yeah.
So half of the game is us getting them to go beyond where they can take themselves. The other half is them going beyond that on their own, meeting us halfway. So we've got some good kids, especially on that side of the ball, that do work hard. Just defining and understanding what that work hard means, defining and understanding what that success is going to be pertinent to in terms of affecting the scheme. And this is a week to do that.
Yeah.
This will be a good week to do that. And I think they can show improve. We challenged them. We challenged our offense, challenged our special teams. I think this is a way that we can show improve. And we've got a great opportunity. And we've got to take advantage of this game as it comes.
Well, we will find out this week as the Quakers again travel to Mount St. Joe. If I'm not mistaken, it is a 1:30 kickoff time again.
1:30 time.
Want to check your schedule on Earlham.com, because I think there's a couple of upcoming games that are 2:30 kickoff
yes, the
times.
next two games are 2:30 kickoff times.
Okay.
We'll have homecoming following Mount St. Joe, and then competition against Manchester was originally listed at 1:30, but we do have a home field hockey competition that day. It's going to push the game back.
Okay. Make sure you check it out, Earlham.com, for all the latest information. I think there's even a photo gallery of last week of the game against Franklin. A lot of great photos in there, and, of course, complete stats and everything else. Coach, good luck this week.
Hey, thanks for all you do.
Always
really
good to see you, man.
you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for being there.
All right.
Take care.
We will see you next week right here on Radio Troy Digital Sports.